way. Okay. All right, so I'll go over that again. Welcome to Victor's Angel Deal Selection Meeting, or as we call it, Short Deal Day. So usually this is the day that we have companies come pitch, and then we will use, and then after each pitch, we'll have a poll, and then so for investors, you could express your opinion, and we will gather those opinions to see whether how we want to continue with the due diligence. So for the rough program, we'll start off with introduction by our founder, Jane, for 10 minutes. And then after that, each company will pitch for 5 minutes each. And then after each pitch, there will be 2 minutes of polling. And then this will go on and on and on. We have 13 startups today, which is quite a big number. And then after all the pitches are done, we will create breakout rooms for each startup, and then investors can feel free to go and ask questions to the startup. So if you want to, take a break, you can go off and then come back again with the at the Q&A at the end, which is about this time approximate to be an hour and a half after the start. And so, all right, I'll hand it over to Jane for Victor's Angel introduction.
Hello. I'll start to share my screen. Can people see my screen yet? No?
Not yet, Jane.
Not yet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and I will keep it under 5 minutes if possible. People have heard of this every time coming to the deal day, so let's make it more efficient. Yeah, so welcome to the deal selection day. Thanks for coming. So I'm Jane, I'm the founder of Aether Angel. If you don't know me, now is the time I give you a very quick introduction. So I'm a climate policy researcher at Berkeley Lab, and also the founder of Aether Angel. Let's see, how do I change my background? Yeah, so my background is in understanding how to mobilize finance. Oops. Let's see how to, where did that go? Ping Ping, maybe you can switch to yours.
What's wrong?
Yeah, I see. Let's see where the background is.
Oh, it's just right there. You can just click. I think it will
go. Here. Okay, here it is. All right. So I founded Aether Angel that focused exclusive on impact investing in later 2019. The focus area, sustainability, plus health and wellness. And our primary focus stage is pre-seed to Series A. We have 8 portfolio companies so far, and we're currently syndicating 2 more. For the companies we're not officially syndicating, we're still sending it to our investors. So you have the opportunities to invest in those companies if you see it fit. Our due diligence process is a very rigorous venture capital due diligence process. For all the companies we're syndicating, we're all investing in the company ourselves. So we're very careful about where your money is spending. We want to be very responsible for your investment. And we want to provide investors with very informed decisions of pros and cons of each company, so you're much aware. If you want to become of our deal team, you can come in as an investment fellow through the investment fellowship program if you have relatively little investment experience, or if you work in a venture funds with a lot of experience, or you have been a founder, have exited the company, you can join us as a venture partner. So we are having this deal day once every quarter. It's a public event that the companies who are under due diligence, new companies who are coming, our alumni come to pitch. We also had a climate investment bootcamp last year. actually just a month ago, we wrapped it up. It was a pretty good way for investors to learn more about climate investing, to know what are the pros and cons in each of type of the investment companies. And we really want to move more capital into the climate space. And for startups, I know there are some startups here just to observe today. If you want to fundraise, submit your deck to the website at vectors.earth. Our team review the submission form from time to time and will contact you if that's of interest. Okay. So why we're called vectors? Because we believe in financial returns coupled with impact, and it's a very nice vector. And we ask our companies to put together an impact pledge, what kind of impact they want to achieve down the road as a part of the diligence and investment process. As mentioned, stay involved. We're always welcome deal referrals in our investment fellowship. 2022 winter cohort is about to begin to accept applicants, so stay tuned for that. Next cohort is there in January 2021. And as mentioned, we welcome venture partners. And if you're family offices, you want to invest in bigger checks, and you want to have specific deals you're interested in, let us know. We can set up special family office programs to scout deals for you. We always welcome co-investors with other funds that participating today. We welcome you to participate. We always love to share deal flows with you. And we're also putting together Vectors Impact Partners. So we want to gather investors in the climate impact space, either you're early stage investor, later stage project financing, and more, doesn't matter. We need more investors in this space. We need to collaborate. We can exchanging deals, collaborate, support companies that truly have an impact, and we can collaborate on impact assessment as well. So we also have a special program, the CinderBio plus Climate $1 million case fund is a SPV, but it's a very special SPV that we want to make it very interactive with our investor. We're raising this 1 million SPV to co-lead a seed stage or Series A investment in the synthetic biology company that's solving a climate problem. We want to invite our LPs to look at the deals together. If you want to learn how synthetic biology is making really a big influence on the climate space, it's really an opportunity for you to be involved. So spaces such as alternative food, bio manufacturing, zero carbon technology are all on the rise, and CinderBio is not only a hot space for investment, but it's really a space that's making a difference. And if you want to learn a full venture investment cycle, this is also an opportunity to learn it with us. And if you want to learn more about how to interact with startups, expert angel investor VCs in the space, we also welcome you to join in. And another very special thing we make for the LP is that you only come in signing LOI. If you really don't like the company in the end, you don't have to invest. So I will get it to Ping Ping to talk about the deal day. And thank you all for coming in. Hopefully you have a wonderful day selecting companies.
Hi, yes. So the companies, we have 13 companies presenting today. So actually Aether Diamonds wanted to switch their order a little bit from the first to the end. But anyways, we have Aether Diamonds, we have Pow Bio, Impact IHRD, CinderBio, Inso Bio, Green Portfolio, CKAPUR, Enduring Planet, Brillouin Energy, Gadusol, CleanRobotics, Medium Biosciences, and Avisa Myko. So a lot of a mix of sustainability and bio companies. So there will be a breakout room, as I said, at the end, but if you have questions for the company, feel free as well to send it in the chat, send your questions in the chat, and founders feel free to respond to those right away. I encourage everyone, if the question is not confidential, to put the questions in the central chat. And if you're interested in any of the companies, please email me. And yeah, and also at the end, the breakout rooms, if you want to talk to specific companies, you can jump in. Otherwise, you can stay and network in the main room. And so, not to waste more time, Shannon, you can start with your pitch. Shannon.
Great. I think I'm getting a message that you need to stop sharing for me to share. Is that okay?
Yeah, Jane, I think you need to stop sharing the screen. Hi, Jane. Give us 1 second. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Is the correct screen showing?
Yeah, it says Pow Bio, the full stack solution for bio.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, so thanks for this opportunity. I really appreciate the chance to meet with you and with the entire community at Vectors Angels. I think it's a really compelling group, aligning financial goals and climate goals. So thanks for inviting me to join. I'm here to talk about Pow Bio. We're a full stack solution for biomanufacturing. So we deliver fast, reliable, and affordable product to accelerate customer time to market, which in any case is a good thing, but in particular in the space of biomanufacturing, where we're trying to change the world by bringing more sustainable projects forward, it's really the difference between success and failure. So it's critical that we solve for scale up. Today, in this year, we have over 250K in customer revenue, and we're on track to nearly 500K by the end of the year. This is growing exponentially in our hands. We have 9 completed customer contracts, and we're integrating high throughput fermentation and AI. Just by way of a little context, the market is pretty compelling. So lots of impacts from biology, lots of ways to make biology part of the overall solution for a better future. We've seen that significantly in the healthcare space. What I find interesting is that food and agriculture is slated to be even larger and even more impactful. So this is a space where we can change the way that we feed a very hungry population, the way we react to climate change, the way we solve problems for things that are scarce and could be more abundant. Very exciting. I wanted to make sure that we were all well oriented. So bioengineered products are built by design. We leverage the incredible insights we have from genetic sequencing and gene editing to say, how can we help make an interesting product in a sustainable way using a biological circuit that's natural, or a microbiological circuit that's natural. There are some pretty famous companies like Zymergen and Ginkgo Bioworks who've made incredible businesses out of helping people design through these opportunities. Having said that, the design is only part of the story. Just like the blueprint doesn't tell you everything about the building, you have to actually build the building and see people moving in and out of the building, eating in the building, working in the building. Now you have the picture of how it really works. And all of that, in this analogy, happens in fermentation. So Pow Bio is in the fermentation space, translating this design into great products. We focus on something called concept and bench to pilot scale. And you can see that we've illustrated the space beyond where we're focused to show you kind of the path that other synthetic biology products are likely to take. We focus on this particular area because it's the most cost intensive and the slowest. And this is where most of the incredible synthetic biology ideas frankly die. If we can help them be much more successful in getting to market, we'll be part of transforming the future. We can do that not only out of a sense of opportunity, but because we're very cost effective and because we have some unique capabilities to translate that into a much more successful and inexpensive approach forward. We do that using a high throughput fermentation platform that delivers 3 times the data 20 times faster. So using our unique technology together with our experience and skill, we're prepared to help most of synthetic biology, in particular industrial synthetic biology for food and ag, move ahead much more quickly and more successfully. I'm joined by an incredible team of chemical engineers and molecular biologists. My co-founder, Owe Wong, came from Cal, worked on the technology that enables us to do high throughput fermentation. Our COO, Brian Lee, has deep experience in the fermentation space, has scaled multiple times at this company, at other companies, and comes with a wealth of experience in fermentation. Our fermentation lead, Stephen Hubbard, has worked on multiple platforms and multiple companies on fermentation scale up. It's pretty exciting. And Amanda, Alex, and Andres all came through the chemical engineering program at Cal, working at J-Bay in the Kiesling lab. So very strong experience in fermentation. And now they've spent time, learning together with us. A little bit about Pow. We previously raised $1.5 million in the fall of 2019. With that, we built the lab, our 6 R&D stations. We have a class 7 food grade GMP clean room. We established our 30-liter small pilot manufacturing and completed multiple revenue generating projects. Today, we're filling a $750K bridge round on a 20% discount, 10 million cap, so that we can complete the AI integration with our high throughput platform and file some additional IP. We'd also like to continue to expand our customer traction. In the spring, we'll raise a seed round. It's all about getting the scale to happen up to 1,000 liters, and we're looking at expanding into cellular agriculture. So our mission at Pow is to transform great ideas into great products. We are building a better way, an innovative way to test, develop, and scale biology. And with that, I'll wrap it up.
Thanks, Shannon. And also, Victorious Angel is syndicating for Pow Bio. So if you're interested in investing, feel free to contact me. I'll leave my email in the chat. Okay, so now I'm going to put up the poll for Pow Bio. And so while we're doing that, okay, I just launched the poll. And then that'll be 2 minutes while I'm doing that. Let's see. Yeah, Mina, like you can get set up with the screen share. Two minutes. Okay, well, time's up for the polls. I'll end the poll and share the results for Pow Bio so everyone can have a look. And in the meantime, Amina, you can get started with your pitch.
Okay, great. I guess you guys can hear me fine?
Yep, and we see your screen. Perfect.
Awesome. So good afternoon, everyone. It's evening here. I'm from Eastern Canada. So we're Impactful Health R&D. My name is Mina Mikhail, and I'm the CEO and founder. So what is it that we do? We develop sustainable active packaging to prolong the shelf life of fresh foods. And we're starting with fresh fish as an entry market. So what is the problem? across the supply chain, all the way from the fisheries and aquacultures to end consumers, 10 to 60 million tons of fish is wasted globally every single year. You know, the Olympics just happened recently. If you want to imagine what that number looks like, that's 4,500 Olympic-sized swimming pools filled with rotting fish every year. So that's a lot of waste. So this is the packaging that we see here in Canada. I'm sure you see similar things in the States that is available at grocery retailers, and it does nothing to extend the shelf life of the product. And this is actually precisely what we look to disrupt. So our solution is called ActiPack. It's a film-based technology that extends the shelf life via three main mechanisms. One is reduced bacterial spoilage. Two is reduced lipid peroxidation, which is to say the off taste of the fish. And three, reduce water loss in order to maintain the aesthetic appeal. By doing that, we extend the shelf life by 15 to 30%. So in the case of salmon, with fresh salmon, it has a 14-day shelf life. So in the case of salmon, we look to extend 2 to 4 extra days. So we have a huge economic impact on the supply chain, on multiple stakeholders. And we actually did a customer discovery program where we interviewed 85 stakeholders in the supply chain and found that we have two major customer segments. The first one are the fish processors. So they're very interested in our technology because extending shelf life means opening new markets, so exporting further away than they normally would. Two is they can provide value-added products to retailers where they can capture a bigger margin. And three is to appeal to a growing eco-conscious consumer base that is asking for more sustainable packaging. The second are retailers. So they actually bear the burden of the waste in the supply chain. Actually, they could waste anywhere between 5 and 10% on their fresh fish, which is a huge number. So anything that reduces, extends shelf life means the fish is being sold and also reducing waste and also having a sustainable packaging to align with their SDG goals. Finally, end consumers have a sustainable packaging with a longer best before date in order to enjoy a high quality piece of fish. So we did a bit of we ran some numbers with one of the major retailers in Canada that own 40% of the market share. If we can extend the shelf life of fresh fish by 2 to 4 days, and that translates to a reduction of 50% in their waste, that is $37 million of captured revenue that is lost otherwise. And so the opportunity in Canada is around $100 million. And if you can think in the States, it's much bigger. And obviously the global market is even bigger. So by reducing fish waste using a sustainable packaging solution, we're both reducing organic waste by diverting fresh fish away from landfills and also reducing a reliance on traditional plastics. And this actually puts us in alignment with the UN SDG goals 12, 13, and 14. Our main competitor is what's called modified atmosphere packaging. It essentially is a technology where you immerse the piece of fish or any fresh protein in a mixture of gases that is highly controlled. And similar to us, it can extend the shelf life and reduce water loss. However, in order to implement MAP, you need to purchase equipment, you need to train personnel, and you also need to change workflows, which means the adoption cost is very high. In our case, with the processors, we look to supply them with a roll that just would substitute their existing roll, so there would not be an adoption cost. So we are starting with fresh fish. We've also started exploring another protein right now, but obviously in the future, we look to target all kinds of different fresh proteins, including meat, poultry, as well as pork. So I have a PhD in biomaterials from McGill University in Canada, and I've put together a very strong technical team in order to complete the work that we're doing and scaling up the process. And I've also hired consultants that are working with us to kind of fill in some of the gaps when it comes to marketing, finance, and other venues as well. So our go-to-market strategy, we have two business models. I'll keep it brief. We have a direct sales and a licensing model. Where we have geographical reach, so that's North America and Europe, we look to have direct sales to our fish processor and grocery retailer partners. And there is a reason for that. We really want to own that customer relationship on the long term. Where we don't have geographical reach, we actually look to license our technology. So we're currently doing a funded proof of concept with Mitsubishi Chemical Corp in Japan. And the idea there is to license our tech since they already know the partners in those regions. We've achieved quite a number of things to date. We've had a proof of concept developed. We have IP, so we have a worldwide PCT patent on our formulation as well as method of application on the film. We're currently doing a pilot with a major fish processor, a $2 billion company that has global presence, but the HQ is in Canada. And we're also, as I mentioned, doing a funded POC with Mitsubishi Chemical in Japan. And we have a partner that will help us scale this process, which is a flexible film manufacturer. And we've raised around 800,000 in Canadian, both dilutive and non-dilutive money. So we're currently raising 1.7 in total, 1.2 in dilutive and 500 non-dilutive. We already have a lead on this round with coming in with 500K on a safe with a market cap of 5.4 million and 15% discount. We also have a commitment from angels already at 300K. So we're looking to have 200 more to close the angels. And we're also talking to other VCs right now to close the other 200K. So the fund essentially will be used to scale up our process, as I mentioned, from lab scale to small scale production, and also hire some expertise when it comes to manufacturing in order to successfully put together the line and start producing film that would feed into pilots as well as early sales. So we've won a whole bunch of awards, including the Kaitaki Challenge, which I mentioned.
Sorry to cut in, Mina.
Sorry.
So yeah.
Okay, so this is my last slide. So yeah, we've won a whole bunch of awards, and yeah, thank you so much. Be happy to take some of your questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mina. And we're also syndicating for impactful health R&D as well. So if you're interested, please let us know. Okay, I will stop sharing Pow Bio's poll and launch iHRD's poll. Okay. Yeah. Thank you a lot, Mina.
Thank you. Sorry for going a bit over time.
No worries. Okay, in the meantime, let's see. Steve, CinderBio, if you can go ahead and set up the screen. Perfect, beautiful. $30 left for the poll. Okay, Steve, you can get started. I'll end the iHRD poll and share the results. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Pinpin. My name is Steve Yanone. I'm the founder and the CEO of CinderBio. And thanks for coming and letting me spend 5 minutes telling you about some of the work we've been doing. So since the time is tight, let me jump right in. So what we do at CinderBio is we, oops, that's the wrong slide. We make novel hyperthermoacidic enzymes. And enzymes are protein catalysts that catalyze bioconversions between biomolecules. And all around the planet, in areas of volcanism, heat is brought to the surface, sulfur is concentrated, and water accumulates. And on the upper right, this produces an environment called a sulfataric spring. This is a very hot acidic environment where people never expected to find organisms living. We work with those organisms, and the upshot of our work is that we've convinced these microbes to produce enzymes for us that are stable in acid and heat. And if you look at the plot in the middle with pH and temperature, basically what this does for us is, if you think about industrial processes, you've got a range of pH and a range of temperature. And if you look in this white box, this is where all the industrial enzymes currently available fit. And this is a $6 billion global market. The orange box indicates where our enzymes operate optimally or near optimally. And so we've got a lot of space and a lot of industrial applications that we can address that haven't been addressed by companies like Novozymes, DuPont, or BASF. So we see this as an opportunity. Our enzymes are also much faster, as you might expect from first principles, given the kinetics in the system. It's very hot. The enzymes work very fast. We get anywhere from 10 to 100x faster than traditional enzymes. And so what do we do with this? Oh, wrong. Well, so we've developed a number of different applications for this platform technology, and we've incubated the company on federal funds. We've got grants from the NIH, the National Science Foundation, and the Department of Energy to develop minimal viable products for proteomics, which is our beachhead market. This is a technical laboratory application of our enzymes. We've done a lot of work on cleaning and sanitation in food and dairy processing. And we've also developed minimal viable products for generation 1, generation 2, meaning corn, ethanol, and cellulosics using our enzymes, and there's some significant advantages. We've been able to raise $3.6 million of non-dilutive money through federal funds, and we've taken some small investments in the form of safes in the total of $810K. So what we're planning on doing is moving from these technical enzymes, which are an extremely low volume, high margin market, into the food and beverage, and then ultimately towards biofuels, commodity chemicals, and other things, which is a difficult entry point. And so we've come up with this strategy to work our way towards these large scale markets. Oh, and we've shielded these markets with IP. So I've written a number of different patents in each of these different markets so that we have room to grow. We've developed a number of different partnerships. Currently, as I mentioned, we are focused on research enzymes. These are small volume, high margin applications in laboratories, and you can see the different collaborations we have. We've also done a lot of work in sustainable cleaning and dairy food processing, as well as biochemicals and biofuels. So we've worked out the production fermentation. We've done 120 liter conventional fermentation, 600 liter conventional, and I've built a custom bioreactor for constant continuous fermentation and integrated downstream processing, and built a control system for that. So with this capability, we can saturate our beachhead market, and we're looking to do so. And it won't advance. So I won't have time to go through all this, but we've got a lot of advantages, not the least of which is we cut the reaction time from 18 hours to less than 20 minutes. We reduce process steps, and we want to use these advantages to enter into clinical proteomics, a market that's developing but hasn't been fully developed because of the limitations of the enzymes. So as far as market readiness, this is what our product looks like. It takes us, we have enough production capacity to saturate the market with these. These are about $100 a piece for laboratory reagents. We've validated the minimal viable product, and you can read some of these things. We've got enzyme stockpiles. The EPA regulatory filings are nearing completion. And currently we're raising a $2 million seed round to get us into this market. I've got some key hires I want to do. We've got to protect our IP internationally, as well as in the US, finish our EPA filings, which are nearly done. And we've got a fill and finish and a distribution contract where we don't have to handle the day-to-day of shipping out samples to customers. And that's my 5 minutes.
Perfect. All right, I gonna stop sharing HRD poll and then have CinderBio pull up. Okay. And next, okay, next will be Inso Bio. They can't join the pitch today, but they sent over a recording. So if you have any Q&A for them, please feel free to leave it in the chat, or we'll manage to get to the founders to answer them. Okay, so let me sort out my screen. Okay, we have 30 seconds left for the poll. I hope people can still hear me. Okay. All right, time's up for CinderBio poll. I'm gonna stop the poll and share the results. And let me test a little bit with Inso Bio video.
Hi, my name's Harvey.
Do people hear the video sound?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I'll play it again. Okay, we'll meet Inso Bio.
Hi, my name's Harvey. I'm the CEO of Inso Bio, and we're developing hardware solutions to become the next de facto way of processing genomic samples. An example of something that we've been able to accomplish is take a single finger prick drop of blood, load it directly onto our device with no pre-processing, being able to pull out the genetic contents from that droplet of blood, and then being able to sequence the entire human genome from just that droplet. And I'll go into how we do that. So because genomic technologies have evolved so rapidly over the last 10 to 15 years, the way that we prepare samples for genomic sequencing hasn't had a chance to catch up yet. And so to give a little bit more context to this problem, I'm going to introduce a use case demo with Sarah. So Sarah is a Genomic Core Facility Director. She represents just one out of 160 plus potential users of our technology that we've spoken to. Now, Sarah runs a Genomic Core facility at a top US institution, and she has about half a dozen highly trained techs who work for her. But even then, they struggle to prepare high quality samples in a reasonable amount of time. As a result, Sarah often has to scrap entire sequencing runs, which costs her even more time and even more money. And this adds to her 3 to 6 month long growing project backlog. So how we want to solve Sarah's problem is take all the friction and complexity that's involved with current methods of sample preparation and replace it with a single, easy to use, automatable system that can bring the total time of processing down to 1/10 of what it is now. And how can we do that is by utilizing our proprietary technology developed out of Cornell University. This is a patented and licensed technology that has been in multiple publications. And what it does is it utilizes tiny, tiny micro features to perform two key functions that no other technologies can perform. First is extraction rapid extraction of the DNA purely based on physical size. So there's no in-channel chemistries, there's no binding events, and therefore there's also no loss due to DNA not binding. The second very key and unique function that our pillars perform is that it can hold on to the DNA as we continue to flow liquid over it. And so this is a purification as well. And in fact, we can purify the DNA by keeping the DNA in solution, owing to our name, Inso. And by doing so, we damage the DNA less, which ends up improving the sequencing quality. And that shows up later on in the sequencing. So the technology itself was developed out of the laboratory of Professor Harold Craighead at Cornell University. Harold is one of our co-founders, but Harold also co-founded and invented the underlying technology to Pow Bio, Pacific Biosciences, which is now one of the world's leading DNA sequencing companies. I did my PhD with Harold and have spent about 10 to 11 years now working on the underlying technology alongside Harold. And Adam is our third co-founder, joined us back in 2017, originally as an academic collaborator, and worked with us for a number of years before we started Inso together. So although our technology and system can be applied to many forms of genomic sample preparation for various applications, what we want to target first is the field of long-read DNA sequencing. And we want to do this because it's not only a high growth market, but we have several unique unfair advantages in this market, including our connections with Pow Bio through our co-founder Harold, as well as our unique core value proposition coming from the technology side. In fact, to date, we've begun collecting letters of intent, and we've already collected 3 letters of intent over the last few weeks. And we've also gotten further validation from Pow Bio itself, where the chief science officer of Pow Bio has written us 2 letters of support for our technology and for the problems that we're solving. Now, to date, we've raised over $1.1 million. A little over half of that has been in non-dilutive SBIR funding, and the other half has been in pre-seed funds. And we're now raising 1.2 million in order to close on 8 million of revenue by the end of 2023. And this 1.2 million will go into 2 critical inflection points. The first being pilot production of our chips, and then the second being pilot production of our benchtop system. This all plays into our overall business model, which is the razor blade business model, and to have a low-cost benchtop system placed and then make the bulk of our revenue off of the consumables, essentially our single-use cartridges, our chips. With that, I'd like to say thank you. And if you'd like to contact me, you can do so at my email below. Thank you.
Okay, that was Inso Bio. I'm gonna stop, excuse me, I'm going to stop sharing CinderBio poll and start Inso Bio. 2 minutes, so sharing the screen. Let's see.
Perfect. 1 sec. Can you all see my screen?
Yep, perfect.
Right.
Right, yeah, we have about 30 seconds for the green portfolio poll. Okay, green portfolio poll is done. I'm sharing the results. And Franco, yeah, you can get started.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jane. Well, thank you everyone for being here. My name is Franco Martinez Levis, and I'm the CEO of CKAPUR. At CKAPUR, we develop biological solutions for agriculture based on extremophile bacteria. Our products allow farmers to increase yields, reduce fertilizer use, reducing carbon emissions, and also grow crops on degraded soil. So soil is actually a non-renewable resource. However, currently, 33% of the world's soil is already degraded due to pollution, salinization, and excessive use of agrochemicals. By 2050, over 90% of soil could become degraded. In addition, we all know that food demand is expected to grow, creating a context where we will need to produce much more with much less. In order to tackle this challenge, my team of scientists has spent the last 20 years researching extreme environments and the highest salt flats on Earth, looking for microorganisms that promote plant growth under extreme conditions. These microorganisms grow in the Argentine Puna, in Chile and Bolivia, and they are able to produce all of these effects under high conditions of salinity and rot. They solubilize phosphate, fix nitrogen, they produce all these different compounds, produce siderophores, which help with iron uptake, they form biofilm, which promotes root development and plant growth, and they also have some properties to protect crops against pathogen fungi. So we're using these extremophiles to create seed treatments, and our first product is a soybean seed treatment. When you compare our microorganisms to the typical strains and types of bacteria that are used in soybean seed treatment, we see that in the effects that we share, our extremophiles have much larger effects and magnitudes, and we have additional effects that not only promote further growth and promote tolerance to salinity and rot. We made 20 field trials in Argentina last year in soybeans just to test this proof of concept that we had, and the results were quite significant, not only in terms of yield, that I will get into details a bit later, but also in terms of consistency. As if you are in the agtech or biotech space or the biological space, you know that consistency is one of the kind of pending aspects in order to improve, to further accelerate adoption of these products. So in terms of comparing ourselves to the commercial products, in these trials that we use field plots with randomized block designs, and in a very scientific perspective, we use obviously external agronomists to carry them out. We compared our treatments and we've tested two different products in different dosages against a commercial product. The commercial product had an average yield increase of 3%. And the win rate, and that is basically defined as, is the yield better or worse than a non-ejaculating kind of control group? So the win rate of a commercial product was 67%, basically 2 out of 3. In our products, the yield improvements were 9 to 13% on average, and the win rate was almost 90 to 100%. If we compare the win rate to the commercial product, it was actually also about 90%. When we see the better treatments that perform in each trial, and we learned after doing the trials that we could predict which product would perform better under certain conditions, like previous crop rotation, the type of soil, the soil pH, and so forth, we actually can target yield increases between 15 to 25%. This for agriculture and overall sustainability can be huge. This is just to look at like yourselves in two different plots, same day and the same conditions. You see that our products and our plants were much taller and had more vigor than the commercial product ones. We were also able to develop, in this case, bean production, but also soybean in very high salinity conditions, actually twice the salinity that soybean usually tolerates. So we were able to also prove our hypothesis of being able to increase arable land. In our team, I'm basically the commercial side of the equation, the business side of the equation. My background is from consulting, and I did my MBA in Wharton here in the States, and we are all from Argentina. And my team is basically the experts on extremophiles, not only in Latin America, but in the world as well. Maria Eugenia has more than 90 publications, very renowned author in the space. In terms of what's next, we're expecting to launch our commercial product for soybean in Argentina next year. We're subject to regulatory approval, but everything is basically on track. We're currently starting our next batch. We're then in the next batch of Inso Bio. So we'll be conducting that acceleration, starting field trials in the US and in Brazil. And in order to be respectful with your time, I will end my presentation here. But if you want to tackle land degradation and feed a growing population, please reach out.
Thank you. All right, let me pull up the poll for CKAPUR. Oh, actually. CKAPUR. Okay, while that is going on for 2 minutes. Next is Enduring Planet. Dimitri, you around? Okay, perfect. All right. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so 2 minutes for the poll and then start the pitch.
And you can hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, let me share CKAPUR's poll and yep, Franco, please start.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for this opportunity. My name's Dimitri. I'm one of the 2 co-founders of Enduring Planet. Between the 2 of us, we have close to 20 years of experience in climate, debt finance, and ops. We've invested pretty broadly across the clean tech space in emerging markets, backing financial intermediaries and alternative credit providers, and some of the top startups deploying clean energy in Africa, India, and beyond. We've also raised capital from some of the largest climate investors, including the Green Climate Fund, as well as big endowments like MetLife and Church Pension Fund. And we're seeing a really exciting trend in the space today. Demand for solutions to the climate crisis is exploding across all facets of society. You can see this across a variety of indicators. Climate VC investments have skyrocketed, and just today we learned that $32 billion have been invested in 2021 alone. Corporate net zero commitments have grown 300x in 5 years between 2015 and 2020. Governments are accelerating their commitments and doubling down on the Paris Accords, and we'll likely see the expansion of this at COP26 in November. And all of this is leading towards an explosion of startup and SMB growth in the climate space. But there are a few problems. One, overall investment in climate is nowhere near enough the amount that we need to reach 2 degrees C targets. 2, the industry itself is largely funded with VC dollars today, which is expensive and often exclusionary, especially for underrepresented founders. Alternative financing, is largely non-existent. And interestingly enough, on the other side of the market, institutional capital, especially concessionary capital, is looking to commit more money to this space, is looking for fixed income opportunities, and those just don't exist. And so we're going to solve that. We're building a climate exclusive lending platform, providing entrepreneur-friendly capital using the latest automation and machine learning technology on founder-friendly terms. We're starting with a revenue-based financing product. It's a simple unsecured instrument. We invest between 100K up to 2 million in exchange for 2 to 10% of top line revenue share, targeting the same IRR per deal, 25%, over 1 to 3 year terms. There are no personal guarantees, no collateral, no personal credit checks, and a really straightforward fee structure. We're starting with RBF because it seemed like the perfect instrument for the moment in the industry. Not only are there a lot of early revenue companies, but the terms are really attractive for seed stage entrepreneurs. The return profile is great for our investors. And last but not least, inherent to RBF is an access to real-time data from banking, payment processing, and accounting, which then enables us to expand our product offerings on lend to the same borrowers and deploy a fairly substantial portfolio in a record time. Now, we're building an automated lending business, but we're starting manual today to make sure that we get the fundamentals right. Still, we've already begun to build out our technology stack to allow quick integrations with Stripe, QuickBooks, banking, and to enable us to produce term sheets right now we can do one in a week manually. We'll be able to do it in 24 hours by the time the stack is in place. We're also putting in place automated ACH debit so that we can enable servicing that requires very little effort, none from the entrepreneur and very little from our side. Now you might ask, what kind of businesses are best suited for revenue-based finance? Well, within climate, we're agnostic. So we'll invest across mitigation, removal, and adaptation. But in those spaces, what we're looking for are high margin, high growth businesses. And the best ones that fit the bill is SaaS across B2B, B2G, consumer subscription, e-commerce, or any really consumer-driven, software-enabled, high repeat purchase business. And we're also applying RBF to hardware, especially business models where hardware and SaaS meet. We've built a pipeline of close to 600 companies that fit these criteria, all of them in the US, which is our first market. We've talked to close to 100 companies. In the last month, we've cut 6 term sheets, 3 of which are outstanding today. We've also begun conversations with close to 50 companies that are too early for us, but really interested in our product. And we've started to get financials from all of them. And then there are even companies that are too large for us because we can't offer the ticket size that they need, but they're interested as we continue to grow to engage and share and potentially partner. I can give you some examples. So we've looked at companies that build microgrid controllers along with a SaaS platform to run those controllers, cut term to a company that does air quality monitoring and has also an associated SaaS business. We've cut a term sheet to 2 SaaS companies, one in the solar sales market and another in the energy efficiency retrofit market. So we've been pretty active. We just started this thing in May. We see a pretty explosive revenue growth pathway driven by 2 key factors. One is automating more and more of a process over time, and 2 is offering additional products to the market, whether it's PO financing, inventory financing, investing in future carbon offsets. We're raising $2 million in a safe note right now. We've got 1.14 in the bank. And this capital will allow us to do a few things. 1 is to do our initial pilot transactions. 2 is commit capital to our first lending facility where we're raising $5 million worth of debt, and also to fund our operating expenses to develop our initial technology stack, fund wages, and support some service providers that are helping us on this journey. Thanks so much. Really appreciate your time and excited to continue the conversation with any of you.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dimitri. I'm gonna start sharing the poll for Enduring Planet. 2 minutes. Okay. So for the next company, I think we're gonna cut in Aether Diamonds for the moment being. Ryan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, yeah, yeah, we're still in the polling session, so you could share your screen and set up.
Also, just quickly want to mention, someone is asking how to get access to our investment deal flows. So if you're an angel investor, I posted the link here. So please put in your investor intake form. So we'll take a look at it and see if we bring you into our mailing list for investors.
Yeah, and so for Aether Diamonds, we also raising. Yeah, we also have a pro rata with Aether Diamonds. They are our alumni company. They came to our deal day before, and we formed a syndicate before. Now they're raising another round. So if you want to join we have a pro rata with them. So if you want to join, let us know as soon as possible. And okay, the 2-minute poll, the 2-minute is up. I'm ending Enduring Planet poll and share the results. And let's hear Aether Diamonds pitch.
All right, wonderful. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. As I go to full screen, hopefully you can all see that.
Yep.
Wonderful. So as Pinpin mentioned, we are an alumni company. We're back here looking to help round out the allocation that we've given vectors in our Series A. So we have, just for context before I get into the presentation, we've already gone through the initial closing with our Series A, and now we're just rounding out 2 angel syndicates who have the remaining allocations in the round. It's an $18 million, $18.3 million in new capital, led by Helena, helena.org, if you're interested in checking out our lead investor. And with that, I'll dive right in. It won't beat around the bush. We're another climate tech company. I'm not going to bore you with some of the statistics, but we all know what the challenges that loom look like. We are struggling to maintain pace to keep to our 2 degrees C target. If we are to do that in accordance with the IPCC report that came out, we know that we have to not only leverage natural climate solutions, but engineered climate solutions as well. The primary challenge there, and as Dimitri in the previous presentation alluded to, it's expensive. Projects that are pulling carbon out of the air really don't have functional unit economics. So those companies are reliant on venture capital money, on NGO funding, philanthropic dollars, or government subsidy. And it was in that we came to a realization. Diamonds could be the unfair advantage. Diamonds are the first product we are commercializing. So I don't like to consider ourselves a diamond company nor a jewelry company. We are a carbon tech company. We bend carbon atoms to our will, and by creating high demand, high margin products, it gives us a really strong foundation to scale the business. If you compare what we're doing to anyone else in the carbon to value space, we have several orders of magnitude greater revenue potential per ton of CO2. 1 ton of captured CO2 can convert into over several millions of dollars worth of diamonds and diamond jewelry. So getting up here into this top right quadrant in this graph is kind of the holy grail, but doing so is very hard to do. If you're moving vertically, you need fundamental shift in technology, but moving from side to side is something that you can do with scale. And for us, that means capital. And that's where this round gets us. Technology is in the market already today. This is not something that is a pie in the sky. If you build it, they will come type of thing. We have been commercially active since Q2 of this year. We launched our brand at the beginning of the year. In that delta, we garnered over $2.5 million worth of direct-to-consumer pre-orders. Since we started fulfilling those orders, we're about 15% fulfilled against that. As we're ramping up production, we're doubling our production capacity this month, which is really exciting. That's something that the initial closing for the Series A has unlocked. In addition to that, we've started entertaining wholesale inbound inquiries, which already for the 2022 calendar year are shaping up to be around 10 million in wholesale interest. Why is this important today, and why is this the right time? You can see demand is going to continue to increase, not only for diamond jewelry, but other diamond-based products, which I'll get into. But the supply of diamonds from the ground is dwindling. When you open a mine, you know how much kimberlite there is to essentially extract from the ground and find your little pieces of diamond. We know when those mines are closing, right? All the geological surveys have been done. We know over the next 19 years, 70% of all mines that operate on planet Earth today will be closed. So supply is going to cut in half over the next 19 years. So you have to backfill with a new supply line. This is our opportunity, and it's pretty massive. Essentially, what we're doing is creating a third category of diamond. We do that by focusing on elements to the storytelling side of the business with diamond jewelry in particular. This is our tip of the spear, and doing that in a way that is juxtaposed with regular lab-grown diamonds, which, as you can see here, are made with fossil fuels. By definition, they are unsustainable. Anyone who's making regular lab-grown diamonds, sourcing their carbon from fossil methane, in no way, shape, or form can be sustainable. And our story goes beyond climate. Mobile carbon collection, which is a big part of our IP portfolio, geocontextual location. Imagine if you are celebrating an anniversary, you might want to purchase a diamond with carbon that was captured in the month when you got married, or from the city where you went to school, from the place where you fell in love. All of these things are really exciting. Imagine Super Bowl rings in the future, and the diamonds in those rings being made from carbon that was collected at the game. The business-to-business value prop is quite clear. We're talking about a lower cost of inventory. We're talking about a greater amount of dollars per transaction and best-in-class profit margins for retail partners. This is going to drive adoption. This is something that's really driving the wholesale interest right now. So right here, if you're a retailer and you wanted to carry regular mined diamonds, whether you have a brick and mortar retail or e-commerce presence, you really can't do that without a much larger upfront investment. This technology is first to market. We have a very strong IP portfolio. We're not only protecting the process by which we make these diamonds, but the isotopic composition of the end product, so preventing anyone else from commercializing diamonds from air. My computer's frozen. I can't move on. Here we go. Outside of the direct impact side of the business, one of the major goals for our mission is to drive a shift in thinking. Climate change and caring about it, frankly, mass market, they're not cool today. Diamonds have that special allure, that je ne sais quoi, and there's something about that we think we can attach to the broader climate fight in a way that can help rally the troops. As I said before, diamonds are just the start. There are other multi-billion-dollar growth markets, specialty gases, industrial applications for diamond, as well as other carbon morphologies, graphite, carbon black, and then metamaterials, carbon nanotubes, graphene, things like that. The whole purpose here is building a flywheel, using these high margin products that are high in demand early on to enable us to continue to build the machine that allows us to pull the first 1 million tons of CO2 from the atmosphere. We know what we're doing, both in startups and in materials and in jewelry. We've done this before. Two of the founders have sold companies in the past. We're experienced operators. We also have an opportunity here to give you some insight into what all of our goals look like for this. I suggest you take a screenshot because I can't walk through all of it, but happy to elaborate a little bit further during Q&A. And that's us. We're Aether, carbon negative, climate positive. We invite you all to come along with us for this ride. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. All right. Yeah, if you're interested in Aether in this round, please email me as soon as possible. I will still launch the poll for Aether Diamonds anyways. Okay, next will be Brillouin Energy. So Robert or David, if you're ready, you can set up the screen.
Sorry, I have to unmute myself and I'm going to set up the screen. One moment. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah, I just muted myself.
Okay. All right. You can see the screen. It's good.
Not yet, not the screen yet.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I clicked slide screen share. Sorry about that.
There you go. Now I see your laptop screen and the PowerPoint is coming up.
All right, let's try this again. My mistake.
Okay, yeah, I see it all bright and clear.
I'm checking my timer. Okay, ready when
Yeah,
you're ready.
thank you. Yeah, it'll be about 30 seconds.
No problem.
All right, okay, so I'm ending the poll for Ether and we'll share the results. And in the meantime, David, yep, you can start your pitch.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to be with you. My name is David Fershine. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Brillouin Energy Corp. We are based in Berkeley, California, and we are a unique later development stage clean tech company developing a device that makes very low cost, ultra clean energy. The applications are enormous, but I will start with this. Our device is called a hydrogen hot tube, and you can see it on the left side of your screen. Basically, it's a long, thin metal tube that gets hot. At commercial length, it'll be about 5 feet long and 3/8 of an inch in diameter. Our device uses a technology known as a low energy nuclear reaction, or LENR, to generate its thermal energy. And essentially what it really is super small scale nuclear energy without the nuke in it. It makes no radioactive waste of any kind. It makes no CO2 emissions. It makes no toxic air emissions of any kind. It just makes heat. And the way that it does it is it draws input electricity into the tube, or we pulse input electricity into the tube, extremely fast and extremely high blast, in order to then generate a thermal reaction that can scale. And what that looks like is, let me go to the next slide here. This, we put electricity into the tube, and you can see here on this graph, the light blue line is an input power of high 40s to low 50 watts of electricity. And then we get thermal energy out of that tube. And as you can see, we're getting over 2 times the amount of thermal energy out in wattage. So electricity going in, thermal energy coming out, and ending up with a coefficient of performance ratio. At a commercial scale, anything above 2x is actually commercial. We are at a stage where we've already proven that we can do this repeatably and controllably in our lab in Berkeley. We need to build our production capability to a much higher level in order for it to commercialize. However, we already have strong interest from large original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, including, I can mention one name privately here, Northrop Grumman Corporation is very interested for all the defense possibilities that this brings up. So the LENR process has had a lot of skepticism, but the more we generate these types of results, the more that's changing. And let me just go back to what this looks like in a developed sense. We can use it to make heaters for a home, or heaters for a small building, or a larger building, or a commercial operation, or an industrial operation. You can see on the upper right, a small scale type of image, upper left, more of a commercial device, and ultimately a multi-megawatt power plant. The fuel for the reaction is hydrogen, but not in the sense that you're used to hearing about it. The amount of hydrogen we use is so small that that if you took a glass of water, the volume of hydrogen in that glass, 8-ounce glass, has enough energy density in it in our process to power up to 30,000 homes for a year. So dramatic possibilities and great commercial scale. Let's go to our team. We have a team of expert scientists, engineers, and technicians that we've built. There's about 20 people working on this variously, full-time to part-time, including we have some alumni from SRI International in Menlo Park, California, who have actually done independent validations of our work. We also have raised to date, that's our patent, close to $22 million, and we are in the middle of completing our Series C preferred stock round at this time. We're looking for a final $3 to $4 million to complete the round, and that's enough to get us to the point where commercial licensing will begin with OEMs like Northrop Grumman and many other industrial companies. We've got a letter of intent from a New York Stock Exchange boiler manufacturer that's quite interested in this. And we are excited about what we're doing. We were introduced by Maxterial, a material science company that presented previously with Vector. They're helping us, we're helping them. If you invest in both of us, you get 4 times the bang for the buck. Glad to be with you. Happy to take questions or follow up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. All right, let me stop sharing either poll and pull up Brillouin Energy for 2 minutes. And then we have only 4 companies left. Katie, you can set up your screen whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. Can you see the screen okay?
Yep, we can see it very clearly. Yeah, we have about 15 seconds left for the poll. Then
Pin, how do we, the company ourselves, find out about that? Talk to you later.
yeah, we can, I think we can talk in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, the 2 minutes poll is up. Okay, I'm gonna share the results, and then Katie, please start.
Great. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Katie Pettinger. I'm the CEO of Gadusol Labs, where we are harnessing the power of SynDBio to disrupt the SPF and clean beauty market. So if you've been following the sunscreen news at all, you might have noticed that some popular sunscreens have begun to be banned, particularly in marine spots. So, and especially in Hawaii. So if any of you like to go to Hawaii, effective January of this year, you won't be able to use 70% of sunscreens that are sold on the US market. Oops. Why? Because sunscreen is killing the oceans. So the synthetic chemical UV filters that are used in most popular sunscreens have been proven to basically wreak havoc on marine ecosystems. In particular, does things like messes with fish reproductivity. They've been proven to be endocrine disruptors. And most importantly, have actually been proven to bleach coral reefs, like you can see here in this photo. So if sunscreen can kill coral, a really great question to ask is, what can it do to you? And the FDA asked the same question. They spent the last 2 to 3 years actually diving into this. And as a result, they did studies in 2019 and 2020 that produced pretty dramatic results. So they took these 6 most popular UV filters that are also synthetic chemicals that, again, are used in the most commonly used sunscreens. They set the safety threshold down here, so it's pretty low. And then they tested all of these to see how they absorbed into your blood after 21 days. And as you can see, all of them surpassed the FDA safety threshold, with oxybenzone, one of the most popular ingredients in sunscreens, far surpassing that. So if you don't want to use these synthetic chemical sunscreens, the only other option right now is to use mineral sunscreens. But frankly, they're uncomfortable to apply and wear, and they make you pasty white if you use them in their safe non-nano form. So we asked ourselves, well, what if the sun protection solution has been here all along? Basically, how does nature do this? And the answer is Gadusol, which is actually a family of compounds that is the reason why marine organisms and fish and aquatic species and actually some reptiles don't get sunburned. And so the scientific founders that I'm working with for Gadusol Labs actually they were the first scientists to be able to find this in fish eggs, isolate the genes responsible for making it, produce it for the first time sustainably using SynBio in a lab. And then we spent the last 3 to 4 years doing clinical and non-clinical trials to test the safety and efficacy of this product. Just because something's natural doesn't necessarily mean it's safe or effective. And so we've done all of those tests with pretty amazing results. And because you only need a tiny bit of Gadusol to go a really long way, and because it fits into this wonderful regulatory sweet spot of calling it an SPF booster, we do not need FDA approval to get a Gadusol containing product on the market. But what we're really excited about is this whole new compound, patent pending Gadusol derivatives that we've developed that basically have the potential to replace all UV filters. So the team has actually been able to create these derivatives, and we can cover everything from UVA to UVB in the UV spectrum. And what you really want is a full spectrum protection sunscreen. These have the potential to actually become approved sunscreen actives and on the FDA list, on the FDA monograph, and in other areas around the world. These ingredients are positioned to fit 2 rapidly growing markets. The global sun care market is growing rapidly, 12.5 billion by 2025. Global skincare and cosmetics is huge, 287 billion by 2025, with clean beauty just completely taking over regular beauty. We've been on the radar of several multinational personal care and chemical major market players over the past 3 to 4 years. They all want the material, they want exclusivity, and we're negotiating with one of these players for exclusivity right now. This reflects our B2B model of ingredient sales via distributor. We are simultaneously pursuing a B2C revenue stream where we would be able to start in the luxury space, launch 4 to 8 SKUs with luxury face and cosmetics, go down to prestige with kid sunscreen, a reef safe sunscreen, and then eventually do the mass adult sunscreen market. Expected revenue, we have 3 different revenue streams. The first being SBIR funds to just keep our R&D lab going, along with our B2B and then B2C lines. We've been at this for 4 years. So we started in 2018. Again, we've done all that safety and clinical trial testing in that 4-year time period. We raised 1.65 million so far, mostly through non-dilutive funding like SBIR grants, state grants, any grant that we can get our hands on. We have a fantastic team poised to grow with a scientific foundational team, and then I'm partnering with Jennifer Hessel for our B2C expert advisors and board members. And right now we're looking for a $1 million initial or $5 million seed raise, and with that $1 million match of $500,000 from NSF. The end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, I saw David just clap his hands. Okay. All right, I'm going to launch the poll for Gadusol. Okay, come on, okay. 1 second. Okay, sorry, there's something wrong with my polling. Mm. Okay, hello. Sorry, there's a little something wrong with my Zoom. Let me see. Can I? Yes. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. Let me try. Okay, perfect. All right, thank God. Yeah, sorry, my cursor is suddenly not working, but here Gadusol's poll is up for 2 minutes. Next company is CleanRobotics. Charles, you can set up the screen while we're okay.
Can everybody see it?
Yep, we can
Cool.
see it perfectly. Okay, I ended Gadusol polls and share the results. So Charles, please go ahead.
Cool. Everybody, I'm Charles Yap, CEO and co-founder of CleanRobotics, and I'm really excited to tell you about what we're building and how we're going about trying to make the world a greener tomorrow, or build a greener tomorrow for everybody. So the recycling industry, you might know, is in a state of crisis. And what's driving that crisis are three things: confusion, contamination, and the fact that nobody will buy contaminated recyclables. People get confused about where to put their waste when they're throwing things away. And when they make mistakes at that point of disposal, literally at the garbage can, things go into the wrong place and it causes contamination. Most folks think that someone else will figure out where to put things into the, where things go and how to put them into the correct place. But it turns out that no one figures it out and you just end up with tonnage of otherwise very useful materials in the landfill. The global waste industry is enormous. It's a $435 billion industry. In the United States, it's a $75 billion industry. The global smart bin market is projected to be 25.7 billion by 2029. We've invented a technology called TrashBot. It's a system that uses AI, robotics, and computer vision to detect waste as you throw it away, and it robotically separates any 2, 3, or 4 streams 300% more accurately than the public. And we really think that because of the problems that are endemic to the industry, you really need to sort waste upfront and really take that decision making away from people, particularly in public settings. And what this means for our customers, it allows them to save on waste related expenditures and fines. It instantly improves their sustainability and the impact. We can provide high value waste analytics and audits at high granularity. And we also have a built-in screen that can be used for marketing communications and corporate messaging. We have 3 models of TrashBot that we're going to market with. TrashBot Slim, which is designed for lower foot traffic places, TrashBot Standard for higher foot traffic places, and TrashBot Zero, where there's a premium on sorting various different streams of waste in that location. So in the video here, we have a TrashBot Standard. The way that you use it is a lot like a normal waste receptacle. You just deposit your item of waste. At that point, the AI and computer vision systems will detect and classify that item. And then the robotic component just drops it into the appropriate bin below. And it's really that simple. We have other features. You can see here the sign on the front that is backlit. It changes color depending on the status. So a custodian just walking by can see if the trash bot is getting full and if it needs attention. We're targeting high traffic public places to go to market. So airports, convention centers, arenas, universities, office buildings, and other institutions and buildings of that type, where you have a traveling public making mistakes at the point of disposal. As I mentioned, our system collects data on every item of waste that goes through this, through the fleet, and that allows us to collect data and empower analytics that can be used by the facility. And these obviously can be used to craft insights and tactics to improve diversion and sustainability within a given facility. And it can also be used to deploy and develop more effective recycling education. Because it's data driven, it's more locally relevant, it's specific, and it's adaptive. We can change the content over time, and we can measure the impacts of that adaptive messaging. We've had fantastic traction over the last few years. We have units deployed at major international airports and some big brand names, which I'm sure you'll recognize here on this slide. We have a fantastic team with technical expertise ranging from NASA, Anheuser-Busch, machine learning and data science from Carnegie Mellon, as well as mechanical engineers. We have building out a commercial team right now as part of our Series A fundraise. We have a couple more hires to make on that front. And I think it makes sense, given the audience, to talk a little bit about impact. We're very rigorous about measuring our impact. 2 trash bots in 1 year sorted over 30,000 items with 90% accuracy. This resulted in additional 100 results just from 2 trash bots, which is the equivalent of 5 tons of CO2 being abated. We were also semi-finalists in the IBM Watson AI X Prize. And because we're so diligent and the X Prize was so rigorous in making us validate all of our claims, we've pegged these to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. One of the key things that kind of came out of that assessment process was a really interesting metric. For every $1 invested in CleanRobotics, we'll be able to divert 2.3 tons of recycling. And for every $1 invested, we'll be able to abate 11.7 tons of CO2. I'm going to speed up here. We're raising a $5 million Series A. Our lead investor is Myko Resorts. It's a luxury resort and casino brand. We already have 90% of that in the bank. We're just looking to close the remaining 535,000, and our close date is November 12th. So if you're interested, I would love to talk, and please reach out. Our email address can be found here at the bottom, founders@cleanrobotics.com.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing Gadusol poll and pull up CleanRobotics poll and launch it. Okay. Next, we have Medium Biosciences, Hassan. If you're ready, you can set up your screen share right now. See.
And Charles, there are a couple questions in the chat box.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Is anyone from Medium Biosciences in the room?
I guess people are still flying.
I think, yeah, they're probably getting set because they said they landed at 4:30 and asked to be scheduled to present near PM.
Avisa Myko is here. You can go.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we can swap Avisa Myko to come first.
Yeah.
You can share your screen.
Yeah.
And then we will.
Can you see my screen?
Yep. Yeah, you can try doing the full screen. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, the and CleanRobotics, Paul and Jared, and then yeah, Ravi, please, you can get started.
Good evening, everyone. I am Ravi Atkulwar, co-founder and CEO of Avisa Myko. We have developed a fermentation-based technology to produce melanin. Come again?
Jane, you're not muted.
Should I start again?
Yes, please. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ravi Atkulwar, co-founder and CEO of Avisa Myko. We have developed a fermentation-based technology to produce melanin from a proprietary strain of fungus. Melanin is the skin pigment in our skin and hair, which gives its colors. Its evolution's answer to radiation. Melanin is a multifunctional supermaterial. This one, my screen is not moving. So melanin is evolution's answer to radiation, and it is a multifunctional supermaterial. It can block UVA, UVB, UVC, and hence can be used as a sunscreen, as a UV blocker in sunscreen. It can block ionizing gamma radiation and X-ray, and hence can be used as a shielding against radiation in nuclear applications, medical applications, and aerospace application. It is an organic semiconductor. And when annealed, it behaves like a conductor, which can be used in flexible electronics and implantable electronics. Carnegie Mellon University has developed sodium ion and magnesium ion batteries using melanin as a cathode, and it can be also used as an electrode material for lithium ion batteries. We have done some work to use melanin as a prophylactic and a drug against radiation toxicity. Now the question is, if melanin can do all this, why haven't you heard about melanin? Why haven't you seen melanin-based sunscreens and melanin-based power plant? The reason is melanin is very costly. Melanin is currently sold at $400 per gram. That is 8 times costlier than gold. People have been trying to use melanin using synthetic chemistry methods, recombinant biology methods, and synthetic biology methods. But they can only make melanin only in milligrams and micrograms. But with our process, we can make melanin in kilograms and at a price 4,000 times cheaper at 10 cents per grams. And this opens up many new use cases which were earlier commercially not viable. Our process is now scaled up at 100 liter scale, and the costs are verified at 100 liter scale. And we are producing around half a kg of melanin per batch. And when you compare our process with any other, so we are the first and the only melanin company, commercial melanin company today in the world. We do not have any competitors, and there are many melanin technologies which are all in the lab, have not reached the commercial scale. Melanin can go into hundreds of applications. And being a startup, we cannot pursue all these applications. So we have decided to focus on cosmetic applications because comparatively the regulatory hurdles are less, and it can get us good value in the cosmetic applications. And in cosmetic applications, we are currently focusing on making sunscreen using our melanin. And unlike other people, we are trying to replace the chemical UV blockers, and we do not want to use our melanin as a UV booster, though it can also be used as a UV booster. we want to replace melanin, and we are trying to make sunscreen only using melanin as an ingredient and not any other ingredient. And this is a work in progress, and initial results are very satisfactory. With 12% melanin, we have been able to get a SPF of 25. Our next goal is to reach a SPF of 30 and SPF 50 only using melanin. And why we want to replace, we are focusing sunscreen and replace the current chemicals and nanominerals in the sunscreen is that these chemicals and nanominerals are damaging the coral reefs and the marine life they sustain. Many of the beaches in Hawaii and Florida have banned chemical sunscreen. Similarly, there is a concern regarding the safety and the toxicity of this ingredient. And cosmetic industry is looking for a reef safe, biodegradable, non-toxic ingredient, and melanin fits this gap perfectly. After melanin, we have planned to go after hair dye application, where we want to replace a toxic dye called phenyl PPD with melanin. We target to reach the market for melanin in sunscreen in US in the next 3.5 years after getting the regulatory approval. And for hair dye, we plan to reach the market in the next 18 months. We are getting good customer traction. We are talking with one of the largest aerospace and defense constructor. We are talking with the largest sunscreen brand. We have sold melanin worth, we have orders of melanin of around $35,000, and we have sold melanin worth around $20,000 right now. We are right now looking to raise around $200,000 against safe note to reach certain de-risking milestone before we go for a 2.5 million seed round. And we have still now raised $400,000 from Inso Bio, Advisors Fund, SOSV, and 7 Ventures. And out of this $2.5 million, we have a commitment of 40%. But for the seed round, we still do not have a lead investor. So right now we are looking for $200,000 against safe note so that we can complete the prototype of sunscreen and do some initial work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Okay, let me stop sharing screen with this poll and put Avisa Myko's poll up. Let's see. Okay, Hassan or Adil, are you there? Okay, seems like the Medium Biosciences team are probably not ready. They're on a flight to San Francisco right now, so hopefully nothing goes too wrong. But anyway, Jenny, do you think you can talk about Medium Biosciences a bit?
Oh, Jenny said her baby is crying right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, okay. Medium Biosciences is a company we're currently under due diligence right now. They are a protein engineering company, and just out of Y Combinator. So Jenny, her own postdoc is in AI plus protein engineering. So she was very impressed with Medium Biosciences, their output, and the company already got acquisition offers. So it's an interesting company we're looking at right now. If you want to bring more insight about the company, let us know. We're going to make a decision about the company soon.
Actually, I think we can share the deck if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me find its deck for a bit. Okay, I got the deck. Let me share that. Yeah, but you'll have to go over it for me, I guess. Okay, let me share my screen then. Might as well use the time. Okay, you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let me first share Avisa Myko's poll. And Jane, do you want to go over this a little bit?
I think I just flip it through.
Okay,
Wait.
yeah, so
Yeah, it's
I'll just read this.
MIT's founder, they're all software background.
Yeah. And they went through Y Combinator. And so
yeah, doing enzyme plus artificial intelligence to make new compounds serving pharmaceutical and a lot of applications right now. Yeah, enzyme can be used for many different things. Yeah.
yeah. And so it's resource intensive to find like the right enzyme to work. So they use machine learning to extrapolate from a small sample so they can identify high-performing enzyme sequences. So they already successfully piloted their algorithm with a biotech company, and 3 pilots is being scheduled. And so they'll first sell the SaaS platform, so revenue $100 million. Then, excuse me, they'll engineer enzymes to become more therapeutic, and then arguing for the market. These are royalties. And then they're raising $2 million to hit a 1 million revenue, and then hire engineers and further validate their algorithms. And so that's basically it. Yeah, we'll share the slides after the event anyway. And so if you're interested, then we can take a look at that. So as said, I guess we can start. We can start the breakout rooms. So basically, we'll have a breakout room for each company, and investors can go into each room to the investors can go into each room to ask questions, then talk to the companies. I think one catch about the breakout rooms is sometimes investors will flock into one company's first. So for founders, please wait for a while. Like in the beginning, there might not be people coming into a room, but sometimes people just like go room by room to talk to the founders. So, okay, I'll start. Let me see. Oh, interesting. I thought I had the breakout rooms prepared. All right. Let me see.
Ping, do you want to make a poll for Medium?
Oh yeah, I do have the poll for Medium, but I was just thinking since they didn't really pitch, I don't know whether, how.
Ping, did
Yeah.
you see the email that I think that says they just
just got
landed?
it? Oh, wow. Okay.
And they would be here in a
They just
couple
arrived in their place. Will be there in 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, perfect. All right. Well, I guess we can wait for them for a bit while I manage my breakout rooms and stuff. All right, let me sort out my breakout rooms situation as well. Hi, Hassan. I guess while we're waiting for, okay, Hassan is here. All right, Hassan, please have your screen share ready and pitch right away. Everyone's been waiting for you.
Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you. All right.
Oh, and FYI, we also showed your slides a little bit while we were waiting.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Hassan. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Medium Biosciences, where we use the power of machine learning to enable biotech companies to identify high-performing enzyme faster. We're really excited at Medium, we're really excited about enzyme because they power most of the chemical reaction happening in nature. And doing chemistry with enzymes is often faster and cheaper than traditional chemical methods. However, an enzyme can be used across a wide variety of industry to make valuable drugs and chemicals. However, enzymes found in nature typically aren't suited to work in industrial conditions. Instead, they need to be evolved and adapted to meet industrial process targets. In this process, right, the way things are currently done, enzymes found in nature are carefully mutated and screened in the iterative process where thousands and tens of thousands of variants are tried to meet the goals. But to consider the difficulty of the problem, let's consider an enzyme of 200 amino acids on which we want to do 10 mutations. Each position can take 20 different values, so there are more than 20 to the 10 possible sequence, which is more than 10 trillion. This is far beyond what companies can experimentally screen. Our approach is to use machine learning to directly identify high-performing enzyme sequence in a search space that's 1,000 times larger than what company can experimentally screen. The secret sauce of our model starts with protein language models trained on publicly available protein sequence. These models are trained to predict the next amino acid on hundreds of millions of publicly available sequence. Then when we work with a specific enzyme of interest, we pick the evolutionary related sequence to capture signal and understand which mutations are allowed and which residue co-evolve. Then with a little bit of experimental data, we're able to identify high-performing sequence that can be tested. This is an example of a case study for the cytochrome P450 enzyme, where starting with 3 parents, different mutations on the different parents are recombined. And the property being measured is the melting temperature. as is the case for protein engineering project, there are some mutants which have lower melting temperature than any of the 3 parents, but there are also mutants with melting temperature which is higher than any of the 3 parents. In this case study, we compared the top performing sequence picked by our model compared to a random selection of mutant, and we can see that across different training set size, the selection by our model consistently outperformed, showing the power of machine learning to identify high performing sequence. Beyond working on industrial academic data sets, we have also worked with successful public biotech companies. In this pilot, we're able to show that machine learning can identify high performing sequence several rounds of mutations away from the sequence that they had seen. We have 3 additional pilots being scheduled. So we're starting with offering our model to companies engineering industrial enzyme. And the reason why they're excited about what we do is that they have typically leveraged their system biology and biochemistry background and under-leveraged computation in the search for better enzyme. We enable them to leverage the latest advance in protein language modeling to identify high-performing sequence. We're the right team to go after this problem. I studied computer science at MIT and work in the field of AI for the past 5 years, where I led startup team and published several papers. And my co-founder, Adil, has a patent in protein engineering and started the cell, ag, and biomaker space at MIT after studying bioengineering and electrical engineering. We're currently raising 1.25 million. And with that capital, we want to reach $1 million in annual recurring revenue over the next 2 years, hire an ML and bioengineer, and further validate our algorithm on novel property with contract research organization. We've been part of the most recent Y Combinator batch and are backed by leading investors, including Emily Leproust. We are Medium Biosciences. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and thanks for joining us, even though you just landed. Okay, I'll launch the poll for Medium Biosciences shortly for 2 minutes, and then I'll start the breakout rooms so you can talk to the companies. Some companies are not around for the breakout rooms. For example, Inso Bio, I think Aether and Impactful Health R&D aren't around because of the time zone. It's pretty late in the East Coast as well. So if you have any questions for them, feel free to put it in the central chat and we'll make sure to have those answered. Or you can also email me at pinpin@vectors.org. Okay, let me put that in the chat.
Hassan, can you hear me?
Yes.
I wrote a couple of questions for you in the chat box. I'm really not understanding what you're trying to do and for what purpose. I mean, I finished engineering school 30 years ago and I was an electrical engineer. The last time I took chemistry was AP chemistry in high school. So, you know, let's say you're explaining this to somebody who never took a class in science. What are you trying to do? What's the purpose of what you're doing?
Yeah, okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, I saw your question and I didn't know if I was to answer now. But yeah. So basically as mentioned, the starting point is that there are companies which are interested in taking enzymes which are found in nature and muted them to work in industrial conditions. The only problem is that between these are literally trillions of possible sequence that can be experimentally tested. So it's a very difficult search problem. And the way that the current methods are approaching it is they carefully make one mutation at a time, try a couple thousand of variants, pick the best one, and repeat the process. And what we're doing is that we're leveraging algorithm to computationally identify promising enzyme sequence and speed up that process. So this translates into a faster search process. Instead of we enable them to basically better traverse the search space by leveraging algorithm which have seen hundreds of millions of protein sequence and can identify patterns on which sequence are in the process of interest, which is something that we as humans cannot directly do by looking at protein sequence. We cannot know which one is likely to work out well, whereas we have work on algorithm that enable this company to directly identify high performing sequence. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I started the breakout rooms. So for founders, I'll put you in your respective breakout rooms, or investors. Feel free to join the breakout rooms that of the companies that you're interested in. If you need my help going into the rooms, please send me a chat and I'll make sure to put you in the room that you want to be in.